Good morning, everybody. My name is Jared O'Leary. I've been drumming since 1998, but I still got plenty of stuff to work on. Today, I'm going to be working on Fulcrum control. Another name, potentially, for this exercise is just like a tap spacing. So the exercise that I'm going to be working on is going to help me work on some upstrokes, as well as some taps, the timing of the taps, all sorts of different things. Now, in these practice streams, I like to share what I'm practicing and how I'm trying to improve as somebody who's been drumming for a long time now, almost 3 decades. And in all these streams, you can find timestamps in the description that shows like what I was talking about or what I was practicing. Now, people often ask me some questions in the various chats because I got multiple chats up on this monitor over here. And I will often answer those questions. Why are people asking me questions? Because I've been drumming for so long and because I have a bachelor's, master's, PhD in music education. So I have a range of both performing and teaching experience that people are curious about and want to learn more from. So all of the responses that I've given are in these drumming tips videos, and they're edited. So they're a nice, short, succinct response. And yeah, there's over 13 hours of tips in here. So that can help you out with your drumming. Now, on my home tab of YouTube is where I'm going to be using all of the literally thousands of free play-alongs. So there's chop exercises here. There's a bunch of those. There's over 1,000 grid variations. You actually have to click to show like all of them because there's so many different grid playlists. We've got limb independent stuff. I did that yesterday in the stream. There's marching bass exercises, some drumline cadences. There's a bunch of technique exercises. Here's where you can find all the tips, the lessons, the live streams, etc. But for the exercise that I'm going to be practicing today, I'm going to be using the Fulcrum Control playlist, which is right here, and it's got several videos in there. Now, I need to get motivated with Shia LaBeouf. So Shia LaBeouf here is going to help me to get ready to practice. The great Shia. We're going to hide him because of copyright. And here we go. Let's do it. Do it. Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit. And you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Oh, yeah, Shia LaBeouf. I'm totally tired of starting over. And it looks like the stream crashed on my YouTube. What? Let's take a look at it. So it looks like I might have the vertical up and the horizontal crashed. Nice. Well, hey, it got a good 2 minutes and 20 seconds into it. Wow. New record. Well, that's weird. All right, cool. I guess no the YouTube horizontal stream today, but you know, it is what it is. Why, hello. How you doing on YouTube? On the vertical. At least that one didn't crash. Yay. Anyways, all right, so the exercises I'm going to use are here. This is linked on the vertical stream, jaredoleary.com/drum. There's 62 chop exercises, over 1,000 grid variations, tons of technique stuff, and all the lessons. Okay, I'm going to warm up. Then I'm going to stretch and massage. Then I'm going to work on Fulcrum control. So to warm up, we're going to warm up with classic triplet diddle. So you go into the technique section. There's a bunch of different variations of triplet diddle in here. I can't speak. I'm going to do the 4-count version. There's an inverted version of it. You're like, what? Don't worry about it. We're not going to talk about it. It's a secret. Ooh, nice resolution. Boop. With all these play-alongs, they go slow, and then they go really fast. So you can use the timestamps in the description to jump to whatever BPM you want. We're going to start off at a nice, comfortable 160. Let me turn up the volume, jam, pump it up. And let's play some triplet diddle. 4 counts. Let's go faster. We're just warming up, getting the blood flowing. Let's do 170. Then we'll stretch and massage, and then we'll actually practice by going super slow. Slow down slightly on this roll right here. I'm so sorry. Unsub. I understand. It's okay. You're not allowed to ever make a mistake when drumming. If you do, you have to give up. True story. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Spicy. Let's do 190. And then I'll stretch and massage. All the BPMs that end with a 0 or a 5 give you this little bit of time so you can get yourself set up. And all the other ones, like 191, just immediately taps off. Cool. Let's stretch and massage now that we got some blood flowing. So this first one, I'll actually give you the overhead cam. So you take your sticks, you hold them in your hand like this. You pull in, you push through. It looks weird, but it stretches the sides of your forearms. It's great. 10 out of 10 would stretch again. And to get out of the stretch, you just go back out the way you came. If you do traditional, you can rotate and hold the one end of the extreme. Ooh, it actually feels good, even though I don't play traditional anymore. Hold it there for like 20 to 30 seconds and then do the other side. But because I don't do that anymore, I'm going to skip that. So now I'm going to stretch the underside of the forearm. So I could do it like this. You could do it 2 fingers at a time, gives it a deeper stretch. In the last stream 2 days ago that I did it this way. The lower you go, the deeper the stretch. Ooh, that feels great on the wall. But you can also do it on your pad like this. Just don't put all your weight into it. So here we go. Stretching the underside of the forearm. Now we're going to stretch the top of the forearm. So you could do it like this. You could do 2 fingers, 2 fingers. You could do it on the wall, but this one, the higher you go, the deeper the stretch. You could do this on your legs like I did yesterday in the drum kit stream or on your pad. Again, don't put all your weight into it. Cool. Now I'm going to stretch fingers. So I'm doing thumb to thumb. It just goes twice as fast this way. Oh, good stretch. 7 out of 7. Switching fingers. You might need to spend more time on different fingers, or different parts of your hand or arms. That's okay. Everybody's anatomy is different. Depends on how your hands are feeling, what they're doing. Wow, I'm sorry for that display of violence. I did not mean to startle you like that. Well, repent later. Cool. Now that we stretched, now I'm going to massage. So for this one, what I'm going to do is thumb on top, fingers underneath, and I'm just kind of working my way up and down the forearm. Just relaxing everything. Trying to get nice and relaxed. Loosen everything up. Ooh. See, little surprises every time you do this. You'd be like, this area tighter than normal. And once I finish this massage routine, which will just be like another minute at most, then I'm going to do some Fulcrum control. Pad of the palm, the pad of the thumb will get massages the palm. I can't talk. Focus. The thumb massages the palm. The fingers will massage the backside of the hand. There we go. I can teach. Sometimes. I've only been doing it for 22 years. Still figuring it out. That's okay. Climbed to the top of the mountain, only to find another one behind it. Good thing I enjoy the process. All right, and the very last one is massaging from the base to the tip of each one of the fingers. So you go from there to there, massaging your way through it. So I got a new overhead camera, and it looks so much nicer. Much better. It's no longer doing like the super blurriness and whatnot. Coming in and out of focus 24/7. Oh, I spoke too soon. I broke it. Cool. So now that we warmed up with this, we're going to go back to the tab of home on my YouTube. So we go here. Boop. There's over 2,000 exercises on here. Over 2,000. So I'm going into the technique section, which is towards the bottom. So right here. So you click to expand it. And then there's a bunch of exercises in here, okay? So we were just doing the triplet diddle variations. But the one that I'm going to be working on is Fulcrum control. There's several variations in here that like basically work on like the spacing of the taps, as well as just like your control, like how much space in your hand in order to get those taps to come right after an accent or right before an accent, etc. Okay, so it works on your fulcrum, it works on your tap spacing, your hand spacing, all sorts of different things. Highly recommend all these different variations, but the one that I'm going to work on today is variation 4. So we're going to do fulcrum control, var 4, and in the timestamps, I'm going to jump to 40. This is where we're going to start, and then we're just going to let it go one click at a time. Why? Because we're practicing, trying to slowly refine my technique, and I should probably explain what I'm working on here. So I marched traditional. So I did several seasons across like high school, college, and DCI. And it was all with this. And then I was like, okay, well, traditional is kind of useless outside of marching on a snare line. So then I started focusing on match grip. But unfortunately, I did it with a ring on my finger. And that ring made a little clicky click sound whenever I play. So I would modify my hand so that my finger would stick out a little bit more, and instead of playing like an American grip with a slope, I'd play more of a German grip, so it was less likely to click the fingers. Now, I don't like that. That's not good. So my hands are different, but I've got a ring now around my necklace rather than on my finger, so that way when I practice, I don't hear the click. And so I'm trying to get it so that my hands don't flatten out to a German approach, and instead has more of an American slope to it, okay? And the third one, the primary one, is French, by the way, where your thumb is on top and your palms face each other, in case you're unfamiliar with it. So that's one of the things that I'll be focusing on, in addition to playing this as double stops, so both at the same time. So we don't want to hear like a flam or cha sound. What we want is a pop. Both hands moving at the same time, in the same speed, same velocity, etc. Okay, so I'll be focusing on all that stuff and a bag of chips. Early. My accents are too heavy, so I'm going to try and relax them more. Okay, so now it does each of those rhythms 2 counts instead of 4. I can't speak. And it does that 2 times. Here is the repeat. Now 1. Can't talk while playing. Why, hello! What are you battling, by the way? Again, we're going one click faster. Woo! My accents are still too heavy. Okay, let's pause real quick. So, hey, I said stop. Fine, we'll use the mouse if you insist. Okay, so we're playing through this. My accents are saying we're too heavy. So when I'm playing through this, anything fast, I want to use the same technique use when I play fast as when I'm playing stuff slow. So if I do the opposite, where I'm playing slow and I'm too tight on here, when I start to speed this up, that tightness is going to, unfortunately, translate into really bad fast playing. So when I'm practicing slow, I'm using a fast technique. So when I'm playing fast, I want to stay nice and light and relaxed and let the velocity of the stick and the gravity of the hand and the stick, the weight, etc., do the accent for me without having to like and overly squeeze and like force in the sound. So when I was playing through this, I was forcing in the sound on the accents too much in a way that I would not do the accents while playing it faster. So that's what I was trying to say when I was playing, but I, kept screwing up. Talking while playing is difficult. So get the height without like squeezing or overemphasizing the accent. Hey, Tyler. Welcome. This is one of my favorite exercises. I guess exercise series. There's a few of them. In fact, one of them released today. You're the number one something, apparently? Yeah, you're the number one chatter in the world. Congratulations. There will be a party for you later. Oh, I shouldn't have told you that. It's supposed to be a surprise. Act surprised, okay? You're welcome. I do be chatting too, but, it screws me up. Are still on the other one. Woo! Oopsies. Sorry, I need to be able to read your comment. So I changed my like setup, and like I can't see it. It's too far away. Nope. Changes that too. I just need to zoom in here. Okay, so you're starting to work with some middle school students. Nice. Yeah, I actually just replied to a comment like this morning or last night or something. Where they were talking about like how difficult it is to teach like rhythms and timing and whatnot to like beginner students, and having like taught literally like the entire grade span from kindergarten through doctoral student, and seeing like brand new with a content area all the way to like the doctoral level, like I would argue that teaching beginners is so much harder because there's like so many things that you could talk about and like so many different ways that you could introduce things. It's much harder to like introduce the structure of like a content area or the frameworks and like concepts to like guide through without overwhelming a student than it is to like refine like, okay, well, let's talk about what you're doing with your thumb and like the amount of pressure in different areas, etc. Like that, like that's easy to do. That's just refinement stuff, in my opinion. So I had some people like across the like the music ed degrees and whatnot, they would assume that like, oh, well, teaching elementary is for like the bad music educators, and then teaching high school is for the good educators. Music educators are like collegiate. And it's like, no. Like, yes, you have to be like at a certain level of musicianship to be able to like do those fine-tune adjustments like to an advanced player. But I would argue it is significantly harder to teach beginners than it is to teach the advanced students. But maybe that's just my own bias as like primarily having taught like the K6 and K8 space. And then like the high school and college was not as much time. But I don't know. It's fun though. Like they're all so different. Like teaching like a kindergartner versus teaching a middle school student or versus like teaching a high school student. Like they're all so different. And then when I taught like graduate students, like most of the students were like older than me. So it was like funny, like teaching people who were like a decade or two older than myself. But I enjoyed it. They're all fun challenges. Starting with a single motion, introduce concepts. It's so hard for me to see any of my binoculars again. Yes. I'm still reading. Yeah, I mean, and there's so many things where it's like, okay, do they actually understand it? Because like it's one thing if they can. There's a version of understanding called like a tacit understanding, where it's like you can like execute it, but you don't know why you're doing it. So like some people will like play an accent tap or like this pattern, and they don't really understand like what's going on mechanically, how to do things, why they're doing things, etc. So one of my favorite things, especially for like the younger students and even with some of the advanced students, is you can just like ask them to teach it back to you. So be like, hey, I'm brand new. I'm holding my traditional grip like this. What am I doing wrong? What could I do differently, etc. And then like that can like really help to really kind of unpack, well, what gaps in their understanding do they have, etc. But you know, pro tip from a pro gamer. You had to work a lot harder teaching someone who hasn't held a drumstick. Yes, 100%. Your first student started teaching a few weeks ago. Nice. He's an advanced, but he's not beginner. Yeah. So yeah, if not knowing like what your teaching experience is, the battle, it looks like the battle. Again, I need my binoculars. I need to move my monitor closer. If you do have questions about like pedagogy and stuff, because I've been teaching for so long, feel free to ask some questions. I used to teach privately for a long time, but I haven't done that in a while. So, yeah. So I honestly learn a ton from the teaching and just from my students. When I was like working in the classroom, I had like business cards, and the business cards I would instead of saying like music educator, I said like music facilitator. So I was like designing and facilitating experiences, but I wanted to account for the fact that like I could learn as much from my students as they could learn from me, but just different things. Like, there's so many questions that students would ask, or like, oh, I gotta like think of this concept and look at it from a completely different angle because like you don't understand it. If I teach it this one way, I need to teach it like 5 other ways for like 5 different students who might all conceptualize things differently because they have different psychological schemas, which is like one way of describing it. And I love that. Like, that's one of the things that I love about teaching personally, is that concept of just constantly learning from my students. Even sometimes in the chat, like people ask questions like, Tyler, you've asked some fantastic questions, where I'm like, I haven't thought about that. And so I have to like break away from that tacit understanding of something and figure out like a way to like actually convey it, the concept, so that somebody else can understand it. It's a good challenge. It's more enjoyable for me than it is teaching than performing, which is why like all my degrees are in education rather than performance. But I do like practicing because I'm a nerd. Sorry, reading through this. It's about to be your favorite time of the day. Leftover shrimp carbonara time. Oh, that sounds delicious. We're having like a eggplant with anchovy with I forget what else in it, but penne pasta on Friday when we're gonna have that. So I look forward to that. I haven't had a carbonara in a while though. The last one, I think we actually did a shrimp carbonara. They're good. You love eggplant pasta? Yeah. Good food. Let me hit stuff. Then we'll talk more. Late. I started playing the one. I'm so sorry. I was thinking about an interview I saw with a snare tech for the Blue Devils, and they were talking about how at that level, it's more getting people into the mindset rather than like fixing technique or like little things, and how they felt they had to focus on the relationship side of things, of just getting people used to living with 100 other people, rather than focusing on like, what's a diddle? Okay. Talking is messing me up. Blue Devils? Yeah, the drum corps. Agreed. I really like these variations. They all work on different stuff. Like the one that came out today has 1 tap after an accent. This obviously has 3. But then there's some that have 2. And they all work on like different things with it. My favorite way is double stops. So that way I can, match my hands, ideally. Nice, that's a solid first instructor to get. My first was just like a local guy that played drum kit, but march tenors. And then had a bunch of private instructors. There was one semester where I had 4 different private instructors a week, 2 for college and then 2 outside of that. And I loved how they all disagreed with each other. It like really emphasized that there's so many opinions about playing. So like some people will be like, well, you got to use like a French technique. Okay. And then other people will be like, okay, but instead of using like a finger French technique, instead you're going to use a rotary French technique, like with timpani. And it's like, well, no. Instead of using French finger or rotary, you need to use a German approach. No. Instead of that, you need to use an American focus on fingers. No. American focus on wrist. No, American focus on molar. And it's like, wait. All these instructors are all really good. Like Jeff Queen, literal 4-time world champion. And then like people who taught him, like, and they all say different stuff. So I felt like I just like learned so much from studying from all those different people. It's good. Let me get some water. I'm so parched today, and I don't know why. You like double stops too? They're my favorite. Don't tell all the other diddles and whatnot. Hello, Don. Welcome back. All the other approaches, don't tell them, but double stops is my go-to. That's my main. It's such a good way to like just be honest with stuff. Like the playlists that have like a lot of the double stop variations in it, like the 3 strokes. So like, okay, but is that the same as this? Maybe. Or is it like that? And be able to hear as opposed to this. It's so good. Like I had a concert professor who had me work on that from my buzzes to like make it so that my right buzzes and my left buzzes was the exact same. And I was like, wow, that was super helpful for cleaning that up. So then I just started applying it to the rudimental stuff, and it just like made things so much nicer. So hence why there's, so many different double stop exercises. Anyways, I'm stalling. Go. Agent 47. Hey, that's me. This BPM was made for me. Does that say paradiddles? My monitor is too far away for me to see it. Whoops. I also like paradiddles. They're fun. I think I like paradiddle diddles more. Unpopular opinion, I know. There's just something about the paradiddle diddle that's like so relaxing. And like upstroke. I also like paradiddle stops. Ugh, my left is slightly late. Hear it? Whoa, brain. That's weird. Yeah, Dawn, we're going to throw a party for you. It was going to be for Tyler, but Tyler's no longer number one. So, I'm sorry, Tyler. We have to cancel that. Rhythm X 2025. 30-second I'll pair it around at 120. Have you done the paradiddle zoom zoom exercise? It's in the Rudiment Builders playlist. So it's a variation that I learned from Vern Johnson, who's actually the tenor soloist in Blast. So he's the one that did all the solos and whatnot. But he really helped me speed up my hands. So I studied with him, I don't know, maybe a year. It was at least several months. And he had like one of the things he talked about is like breaking it down into like different halves of like a rudiment. So like with paradiddles, so you're playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you're doing accent taps basically when you're doing it. And there's like two halves of it where you're playing the herta essentially, or the fastest that you can play that herta. Let's say you're accenting it. Is the fastest that you can play a paradiddle, but also the same thing for the second half. So the fastest that you can play that is also, when you combine them, obviously a paradiddle. And so the paradiddle zoom zoom, my wife named it, is the exercise that kind of takes his concept and like formalizes it into an exercise as a play along that you can practice. And it's a great way to like work on speeding up the paradiddles. So that, or like slow fast slow is another good one. So where you start slow and it speeds it up and then slows it back down. Either of those would work. You tried a little bit of that. Definitely struggled to keep it up at. Yes, it's hard. Yeah, the one another way to do it is to do to lower the accents and just do it as tap, and then slowly like raise it up over time, or the hertas. Am I gaming today? Yeah, we're doing Borderlands here in like 45 minutes or something. I'm slowing down. But yeah, so starting off with everything all at one height, at a low height, a nice comfortable, and then slowly raising the accents is a good way to like kind of like work through that. I'm trying to think if there's some other things that he did for helping me figure that out. Because like a lot of people will practice like here's what your right hand plays on that, and like that's fine, but for me, the flipping it to like the different halves as opposed to here's what one hand does, here's what the other hand does, it allowed me to conceptualize it better and like figure out, oh, it's the herta that's slowing me down, not it's not that, etc. But everybody's different. You're going to have a 1 a.m. snack? Woo! What you going to have? Something healthy? Celery? With peanut butter? Oh, I started playing the twos. No. Again. So the leaderboard thing is something that like YouTube is like beta testing with like some people. I'm apparently one of those people when they're live streaming, and it's supposed to like make it so that each comment gives you like different experience points, but like I don't know how it's working. The math is not right from what I thought. Like, is it not the whole stream? Or is it just like in the last 5 minutes or something? I don't know. I could see that working for like people who like watch a lot of the big streamers who like want to be the number one when there's like 1,000 people all watching. Like, I'm gonna be number one. I'm gonna just like spam a bunch of emotes or something. But I don't know. Most of my audience is like in the late 20s, early 30s. So it's like 7% or something is under 18. I was actually showing my wife the other day. Because like with the gaming stuff, you'd think it would be older or younger people. But nope. Oh, okay. YouTube's just trying to make money. Okay. That's funny. They're probably upset with me that I don't have monetization on any of the streams. So my theory is that because like when doing the drumming stuff, I don't want an ad to just randomly interrupt like when I'm answering a question or things like that. Even though, yeah, you can rewind and whatnot. I'd rather have people be more engaged and be able to talk with them without an interruption, because for YouTube, you can either make it so that everybody gets the same ad at the same time, or you can make it so that YouTube decides, which they try and promote because then they can do more frequently. But I have the ads turned off whenever I'm live streaming for the gaming or for the drumming stuff, so that way it doesn't do that. So it's interesting that they're trying to promote like the super chats. I think they get 30% of the revenue of the super chats. I forget. But yeah, they get like different percentages of things. So like for AdSense, which like on a video that is not live, I think YouTube takes 45%. For the memberships, I think they might take 30%. And then I think for the super chats, they also do 30%. But that makes complete sense why they're trying to incentivize it, because you were talking more, Tyler, throughout. So you should be number one, but they're like, don't you want to get that status again? And so they're trying to manipulate you to do a donation so that way they can actually like make more money off of whoever's streaming. So that's fascinating. And also like a form of manipulation that I strongly disagree with. YouTube, don't do that. You're funny. Thank you, Tyler. Give in to the algorithm. Uh-oh. It still has you as number 2. They're like, you have to donate $1,000. Now you're number 1.5. Save your money, Tyler. Yeah, I do appreciate it, but save your money. If you want to, like, get something out of it, like, do the membership. There's now that 99-cent tier. That's the lowest I can make it. And then you get all those videos. But you don't have to. They're all coming out for free. Eventually. I wonder if it's got an update. Like, in 5 minutes it'll be like, no, you're number 1. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, when I initially started like the membership thing, I was like, I've got so many videos. Like, I can make it so that people can like get it for free, but I just went with the default, and then I was like, well, wait a minute. If I have like different tiers, the cheapest one, 99 cents, I just want people to have access to it. Like, I'm not going to make $1 billion off of memberships, but it does help. So thank you. Appreciate you. But having like the different tiers, so like if people just want early access for less than $1, cool, you got it. And you'll get a few hundred videos from it. But if you want to donate more, you can, but you don't have to. It's all like having those different tiers, I think, allows people to contribute however they want. Or not. Again, you don't have to. You declined? Sorry. It's so hard for me to read this. I really need to like figure out how to make it bigger. But when I do that, it like makes the screen smaller. No. Okay. I'm just gonna look at it. You declined other options in order to accept a battery caption head position. Congrats. Appreciate that. Need more good instructors out there. Help the students. Yeah, I do hope that people will be able to like enjoy those resources with that cheaper tier. But that, yeah, there's a huge discrepancy in. Well, I've got a video for this. Sorry, I'm in my head right now. I'm like, do I want to pull this up? Yes, I do. So there's under the home tab, under the drumming tips, there's a video that I released a while ago. Where was it? Yeah, so this one, number 72, why marching band isn't fair. In that video, I talk about like how there are so many like students that I've worked with, or even like friends that I had who like wanted to be a part of really good groups, but they couldn't afford it. There's this huge financial commitment, both in terms of like the money that you spend to attend, like the membership dues, but also the money that is lost by attending rehearsals and performances. So like not only are you paying money, losing money to perform with them, but like when I was gone all summer or on weekends, I wasn't getting private lesson income. I wasn't getting like the day job that I had like at the various places that I was at, like Blockbuster or the title agencies or whatever. And so that was lost income on top of having to pay to be there. And so many people that I knew just could not afford that. I was in a privileged position where I could do that. And so I wish more people like you were interested in not going with like the world-class, like #1 group in the world, and just like instead taking that high caliber instruction and doing it for groups that are more affordable for people to participate in. Like there needs to be more of that, in my opinion. And I don't know. So that video, the why marching band isn't fair, it actually talks about that. So there's a dissertation by Dave Rickles, which I don't know if I mentioned that in there, but it's where I'm getting some of this data from. So it's talking about how like there's all these non-performance related correlates that can literally predict how people would do. In his dissertation, it was with the marching arts, like marching band, specifically in the fall. So this thing right here, released by BOA on their Instagram, shows all of the groups that were competing in Grand Nationals. And you'll notice that it's clustered here. And what is right around here? It's where they perform for Grand Nationals. So think about a marching band with, let's say, 100 and let's make it easy. Well, a smaller marching band, 100 people. And let's say a plane ticket with like having to pay for hauling a tuba, etc., is like $1,000. So imagine people from here having to pay $1,000 times 100 to get to here just to perform, compared to all the groups right here that could just do a long drive. And instead of investing that amount of money, they can invest it in higher quality staff members. They can invest it in show design or paying a more well-known composer who's been doing it longer, etc. So there's like so many like money constraints that make it so that some groups have more of an advantage over other groups. In this case, all the groups that are near the finals performance site have an advantage over all the ones that have to actually travel. Like if you're, let's say, from Hawaii, and you're having to fly, maybe it's $2,000 per person just to fly that amount. Like it can get very expensive. When it's like a place where you're just touring across the country, like DCI, then it's a little bit different than something like the one-shot Grand Nationals. I know they have regionals, but it's like the high schools that I taught at, when we did BOA, like regional stuff, it was like when it was in Arizona, it was too expensive. Occasionally we would like go from Arizona to California, but it's just, I don't know, too much cost involved with it. California WGI groups have to pay way more in dues because of this. Yeah. So it limits like the number of people who can participate in it. So there are so many people in the Concord area or the Riverside area that I'm sure would be like phenomenal drummers, but they can't afford to be on RCC's line or a part of Blue Devil's line or whatever. Like it's really kind of a bummer. But this video spends a while kind of like unpacking like some of the problems with that. But yeah, it's actually based on research and whatnot, because that is my background. But it's a really interesting dissertation to think through and like apply into other contexts. But let's chop out. I've been rambling a bunch. And then I'll get ready for a gaming stream. Yeah, what video was that? That was drumming tips number... Where are you? And I'm so sorry. 72. So yeah, drumming tips 72 talks about some of the inequalities in the marching arts. And again, the dissertation's on the marching band, but it applies to so many other areas. Drumming spends energy. Actually, Tyler, I'm curious. So this was your last season, if I remember correctly. Now that you are teaching privately with like some of the younger students and you're like being a caption head, I wonder if you won't have any of the issues that I had, and I knew some other age outs and even people who like finish their doctorates. When you get to like that final, I can't do this thing anymore, like I'm done with my doctorate, or I'm done, like I aged out of DCI or WGI or whatever, there can be this like gap of goals afterwards where you're like, well, what do I work on? Where do I get my dopamine hits from that like constant progress and focus on like improvement and whatnot? And I'm curious if you, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but if you felt like directionless afterwards, or if you already knew like, here's what I wanted to do. So like as an example, I did 5 years in the academy, and then on my 5th year, I got into a car accident, so I didn't get to march year 6 or 7. And I was fully planning on marching 7 years in drum corps, and I wasn't able to do that. So when all of a sudden my direction in life like changed, I felt kind of directionless, because like, well, what do I do? What do I focus on? And I was able to focus on like the music education side of things, and so that like gave me some, okay, I can get better at teaching and not worry about performing. But then like when I finished my doctorate, I was like, well, what do I do now? Like I was literally working on it like Christmas morning, like working on my dissertation, or like I would go into the school that I was teaching at, and I'd show up at like 5:30 in the morning, and I'd work for 2 hours before like the bell rang at 7:30, work for 2 hours on my dissertation. And like, it just took up so much like mental time. And then when I finished, I was like, what do I do? So I started like volunteering. I did like Habitat for Humanity work. And that kind of like filled that gap that I had. But I know some other people who, again, when they age out or when they like finish like a big thing like a doctorate or a huge competition, they just don't know what to do anymore. You're more than happy to discuss. Yeah, I'm the thing that I recommend for like new, almost for people who have like almost finished like their dissertation is like, okay, figure out what your next step is going to be. Whether like, what are you going to do with that time that you spent on that? On the weekends or like weeknights or whenever you were dissertating, like what can you do to kind of fill that, what's going to be a void here in a minute? So is teaching that for you? If so, cool. And if not, shame on you. I'm just kidding. No judgment. I'm just actually curious. So yesterday we did a bunch of shopping spree stuff. I want to chop out with a different exercise. Let's chop out with a float drag variation. We're going to do the chutichuhs version. So each one of these in this playlist like uses float drags, which a float drag, if you're not familiar with it, so you have flam drags, if you're doing triplet flam drags. A float flam drag is like a 5-note version with that extra diddle on the fourth. On the fourth partial. So this exercise is, I believe, either written by or written for Tom Float, who that's named after. But this exercise has several different variations in it. Like this is a float chutichuhs. So we're going to start off at a nice comfy 120, and then we'll go into going faster. Let me see if I can read your comment. Ah, okay, so that's cool. Sorry, I'm reading through it. Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that the teaching opportunities is like your next thing to focus on. One of the interesting things that I've noticed for a lot of performers is they don't realize just how much of the gig is actually teaching. Like very few people are able to just make a living by making the music. Like teaching other people is how you do it. So like teaching privately or teaching a group or becoming like a certified educator, like a teacher or a professor or whatever, like that's where you make the money, usually speaking. But a lot of people don't think about that. Like they just want to be like the best snare drummer or the best whatever. The one percussion instrument that I think you can get the most consistent money from would probably be drum kit. But even that's still hard. Like, because a lot of people will be like, hey, you can play at my restaurant for exposure. We're not going to pay you anything. Oh, great. Thanks. Appreciate it. Now you've transitioned into more general chop building. Nice. Well, that's good that you're able to focus on, like, having fun drumming. Yeah, that's kind of like what I see a lot of snare drummers do, since like that's what, like my background is. I tend to focus on them. But like a lot of snare drummers are like, I want to learn this snare break or this thing, and like that's going to make it so I can get on DCI. It's like, nope. You know what's going to let you get onto DCI is what I did for like 20 or 30 minutes is just working on Fulcrum control. Slow. But now that you don't have to focus on those fundamentals. You could just focus on like ubiquitous illness, maybe. Yeah, the exposure thing is it's a bit wacky. We'll let you perform here for free. Oops. I started playing the second half of the flam drag version. Okay, so this is a check. I don't actually know So for me, woo, that's not what we want. For me, the sticks that I use are the barrel tip, so the Hardeman sticks I really like. But these are like the chopsticks, so they're like extra heavy, special kind of material that's used to make them. So I focus on the length and the weight when I'm playing on drum kit. And the closest one that I could find was the Jack Dijonets. So they're like almost as long. So if you look here, as these. So I like these, but I don't know like what's the next size up from stuff, because I honestly haven't bought a different pair of sticks in a long time. So I don't know, Travis. Sorry. But welcome back. Nice spree. Yeah, so the float variations are like a fun shopping spree. Another really good one is the slow paradiddle exercise. So that one's got a bunch of them. What's the Vic Firth ones again? So the Jack Dijonets. They're the white sticks, and then signature looks like that. It's like Dijon-et. I might be completely butchering Jack's name. My apologies. But yeah, I like those sticks. The only problem is with the... I don't think you can see it. No. Okay, so the cymbals that I use, because they're the low volume cymbals, they eat the sticks. So because there's holes in the cymbals, so like you can actually like see through them. This is what a fresh pair looks like. Here's what a pair looks like when you've been using it for a while. So they're great for fending off the horde of vampires that is going to be coming in the future. But unfortunately, your sticks won't last forever if you play on those. So I don't know if it's like a Dijonet issue, but I think it's mainly just a cymbal issue. Because I don't remember that being a problem when I had like the normal cymbals on it. Anyways. Live ubiquitous illness video review on stream. I'm so like afraid of like sharing other people's content on my stream because I don't want to get a copyright violation. Like whenever like a game like plays music, I'm like, uh-oh, here it comes. Now this, I used to play this as like a full spree with people. So we go through all the variations, including the check, and do like check, flam drag, check, cheese, check, flam five, like we normally do for a shopping spree. But like the check is the first two lines, and then like the cheese chutichuhs is the next two lines, and so it takes forever. There's also a variation of grid that you can do where it's called grid matrix, where like an accent is one thing and a tap is a completely different thing. Like you play a full grid version with like flam drags and then a full grid version with cheeses, and like you treat every single note as like a full rep of whatever that is. So you'd play like one of like the flam drags and then two of the cheeses and then one of the flam drags, and you'd have to like mentally keep track of where you're at in individual grid exercises while keeping track of the macro, like where you're at in the macro grid. And it was like, it melted my brain. I learned that from some dudes. I think it was at Vanguard or at Blue Devils. I forget. One of those auditions. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate ya. Let's go faster. Oh, that's funny. But like, you're supposed to get experience points for like all the other stuff. Like, why is it capped though? Like, why? No offense, Travis, but why is Travis number 1 with 75 experience points when Tyler, you've been here the whole time, and you even did like the member donation, the member and the super chat, which thank you for those. But like, why does that equal Travis's recent contribution? I don't know. Again, no offense to Travis. Appreciate you. You put in the coins, why don't you get the number 1? Honestly, it might be because it's like in beta, and so they just haven't figured it out. I'm trying so hard with my left hand to not flip over to German grip. Nothing against Germany. I enjoyed my stay in the walled village. Was it Rotterdam? I forget. It was like 20 years ago or something. What a chop out. Yeah, this exercise, this version of it is whoo. Whoo. It's because they're all equal. Not today. Now do buzz? Nope. No. Go to your room. Okay, so this we found the breaking point. So this chop exercise, it's kind of like a fun shopping spree variation, but if you want like a full shopping spree, this playlist has like several versions in here. But there's another shopping spree variation, the slow paradiddle. This one you can do again with a variety of different rudiments. So I'll do it with chutichuhs. So it starts off with the check version, and then the second page is where it does with the rudiment. So the name slow paradiddle comes from the accent. So you're doing paradiddle, paradiddle. So paradiddle, paradiddle. Nope. My left arm gave up. Just imagine I played it flawlessly. Not today, hands. Okay, all of these play-alongs and literally thousands more can be found here on my home tab of YouTube. We got all the chop stuff. We got all the grid stuff. There's over 1,000 of them. We got limb independence, marching bass, drumline cadences, technique, and then all the tips and lessons. I actually scheduled 2 new drum lessons. How to hold a drumstick. This will release publicly on Monday, and then I don't know why this technique works. We'll release the following Monday, so stay tuned for that. Members get the early access with members first. There's like 460 some odd videos, but they're all scheduled to release for free. So some of them might take over a year. If you want to, you can sign up for membership as low as 99 cents, but you don't have to. I promise they're all coming out. But I do appreciate people coming and sign up for that. What's funny is like when I make what I think are like super obvious sarcastic things is people are like, well, actually you broke. You got me. You got me. One of the things that I did not like though is back when I was both as a center snare and then when I was like teaching drum lines is the like students or the like performers that I was with would assume that I didn't make mistakes, and it's like, well, maybe I'm not breaking, But no, I mean, I make mistakes. So like I try and point them out on these streams, like when I'm like actually practicing, so that way people can like, oh, this is normal. Yeah. Obviously you want to try and, you know, eliminate them, but yeah, these are practice streams for a reason. Constantly trying to improve. Yes, yeah, you joke, but some of the comments that I get, I'm just like, all right, didn't ask, don't care, you're not as good as you think. Thanks, that that information is factually incorrect. It would make me a worse performer. Appreciate your input. Go practice. Anyways, try not to be too negative about it, but sometimes people are trolls and they don't even realize it. And sometimes people just need to stop like typing with their thumbs and, you know, go work on their fulcrum, which you can do using the technique exercises. Ooh, transition. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to call it here. I'm going to get ready for some Borderlands tree, and we're going to shoot some people in the face. So not family friendly, but we'll have a family friendly time exploding people. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate y'all. Sorry the horizontal stream got messed up and like canceled. I'll swap this onto the drumming playlist, but like it stopped after like 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. So at least we had the vertical not crash on me. So, whoop. Anyways, I'm rambling. Good luck. I need it. I hope you all have a good day. Appreciate y'all. Goodbye.